Welcome back to the Chosen Journey with Jonathan A. Cohen. And before we introduce this gentleman here, I have to give a little bit of context for today's chapter. It's chapter 87. This is called the Chosen Journey. So, you make an agenda in life and you prepare for what you think is going to be an episode you're going to talk about. Today's episode was going to be about the Cardinals rotation and where they're headed and all their signings. And then lo and behold, things change in life. So as of this taping, I have gone onto the Los Angeles Angels website and checked their coaching staff. I don't see an update yet, but apparently we are looking at the new bullpen coach, assistant pitching coach for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. It is the one, the only Steve Karsay. Steve, you got some explaining to do.
Yeah, how we doing?
We're doing well, apparently.
It's been a whirlwind, that's for sure. And it's as you say, the journey continues. We never know where things are going to go in life, and now the way things transpired and being, part of an Angels organization that's committed to winning and is has a bright future. I'm really excited to be a part of it and be the bullpen coach. Help out the pitching coach in any aspect that I can. And I've always said that the bullpen coach is an extension of who the pitching coach is. And at the end of the day, this is something that ultimately was unexpected. It happened in a way where things just kind of aligned as well as they could. And I'm excited to get back into the game and start teaching young men and, helping give them direction and try to get them to be the best version of who they are as a pitcher.
Well, folks, Steve and I have not had much of a chance to talk about this off the air because his phone has been ringing, I am sure, with people with questions, comments, because there was one life direction and now the chosen journey has gone in another. So we're going to jump into it, Steve. I methodically put together the pinpoint list of where we're going to cover so people can understand where you're at and how this all came down. So first of all, do I have the title right? It's bullpen coach, assistant pitching coach?
Well, it's bullpen coach. And then I'm just, part of the pitching contingency, so to speak, along with many other people within the organization who put together scouting reports and do that. So, I guess we can just call it run production, right? But my sole job is going to be what I had in Milwaukee, and that will be the bullpen coach of the Los Angeles Angels.
Executive Vice President of Run Prevention.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good way to put it.
Now, some of these questions, you'll have to excuse me, please, not being in the game formally, and it may seem silly, but I know a lot of fans have this on the tip of their tongues. And so for those of us reading it and watching it on TV, understanding kind of the background, like right now, Steve, it seems like November, December, there's this kind of carousel going, this game of MLB musical chairs. There's a certain amount of chairs and a certain amount of people and positions. And it seems like a lot of teams are going through this right now and filling out their coaching staff at this point. Why is it at this particular point that teams need to get that coaching staff together?
Well, I mean, if you step back and you kind of take just a quick peek at it, front offices just reevaluate no matter who it is as the season winds down in the end of September, beginning of October. They figure out what direction they want to go. Obviously everybody's in a different situation with their contracts, and some staff's contracts are up, some staffs are still going on and have multiple years left. So I just think that any team out there, any major league team, just reevaluates where they're at the end of a season. And then, like any other job, whether it be football or, basketball, there's always turnover. And, front offices and owners try to put the best people that they feel in place that's going to help their ball club win. And it's just the time of the year, not many teams do it in October because, that's kind of the highlight of the baseball season, right? You got the playoffs going on, and Major League Baseball just doesn't want any news basically coming out during the playoffs because their main focus is, you know, getting this game to the highest level and watchability during the highest peak time, which is the playoffs, and rightfully so. So it just it's just the way it is works out. It's not this year. It just becomes any year that any team that's ready for turnover makes decisions. They see who's available. And you would think that most contracts end at the end of October. So that's kind of just you know the way the timeline goes.
Now, fans, get ready to roll your eyes a little bit because the next question I'm going to ask Steve. So, is this a case? Artie Moreno, Mike Trout, Ron Washington, they hop on a private jet, show up at Steve's house, knock on the door. Steve's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing here?" And they're like, "Steve, we need you. We got to talk." Is that how this kind of thing goes down? Or is it a long process? Is it a short process? How did this go down for you?
I'm not really sure like how every front office and manager and owner does it. I think it did not go down like that. Let's just
I
get
was
that
pretty
out
sure it
front.
wasn't,
Yeah,
right?
it did not quite go down like that. But listen, at the end of the day, the GM and the owner, no matter what team it is, they have to talk. They have to put a list together. They got to start doing some background checks. They got to call other people that they may know within the game and ask about the individual of who's on that list and who they want to hire. They got to see the philosophies. I mean, there's a lot to it. It's not just, hey, we're going to pick this guy and we're going to try to hire him. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There's many more layers to how front offices and owners pick their manager and how they set their staff and, what they're looking for. So, again, everybody's just a little bit different on that. I think football might be a little bit more intricate on how they hire their head coaches and owners meet with the head coaches a little bit more because there's only 16 games in a season with them, and they really got to be on point. Obviously, sports are a little bit different in length and time and things like that. So there are so many different variables that go along with not only hiring a manager or when that manager available or who they want, but with the whole staff to get them to collaborate and be able to communicate and be able to connect with not only one another in the staff and the front office, but with the players.
I guess without going into exact timelines, I mean, if you think about any organization, any company, when they have certain executive roles to fill, they'll make a list, they'll talk among their group, start doing those phone calls, feeling people out. Once it comes to be, does the process go fairly quickly at that point? Is it a lengthy process as far as decision making goes? Like, how did it work for you at the end of the day? Like when you got that
Yeah,
phone call and the job is there, is acceptance pretty quick? Is it move around pretty quick? How did that go?
yeah. I think individual job opportunity, no matter what organization it is a a little bit different, right? Are you getting a guy that has not been in the big leagues yet and maybe doesn't understand the role, and then you're interviewing that guy? Is it a guy that's been in the big leagues, who has big league experience, who's done that job? How detailed do we got to get with this? How many different areas do we want this guy to interview with? Who do they need to talk to? So it's just it's so different for every individual. You just can't pinpoint it's like, all right, Coach A is going to interview for X job, and um, this is how it's done. Everybody's a little bit different on how they go through the process of hiring, and what they're looking for and what background it is, and who they reach out to, and the research that they do. Like you've said and I've said, it's a really small community within baseball, right? Whether you're in the game right now or you've been out of the game or you're kind of transitioning between the two or whatever it is. Everybody really knows everybody, and players know coaches, coaches knows players, and when you're in the game for such a long time, you run into so many people, and you keep those relationships. And sometimes you don't have those relationships for a few years or even a decade, but when you run into somebody, you know who they are, and you say hi, and you just catch up with what's going on in life, no matter where it is.
If you think about, let's say, a player that has played with one team his whole career and maybe even coached with that same team, you think about the teams that you played on in your playing days. Then when you stepped away from playing and then went into coaching and you coached in the minor leagues with the Guardians organization back then, the Indians organization.
Yep.
And then moving on to Milwaukee, become their bullpen coach for 3 years, correct? For three seasons.
Yes, 19 to 21.
So think about all the trees and all the coaches and all the players and all the executives that come along the way. You build good relationships with everybody, and then people go to different organizations, right? All it takes is one person from the Guardians organization to go to another organization, and all of a sudden, or you played with somebody in Oakland, and now they're in the Mariners organization, and you could have a tree almost to every single organization if you trace it far enough. I was not surprised by this signing for as long as I've known you and our friendship and understanding, what in my head, what I thought the reasonings would be. Now, having stepped away from the game for a couple of seasons, and I've seen this across not just in baseball and football, basketball, across business. There's times, you take a year or two, you step away from what you're doing, you refocus, you re-energize, different perspectives, and you come back even stronger. I like the timeline for you of why you picked to come back now, but walk us through why the decision now to come back to the game and why the Angels specifically.
Well, there are a lot of reasons. Obviously, I love what I do. It's a passion for me. I love coaching. I love teaching, whether it be 13-year-old or 12-year-old young men, or it be minor league guys, or, eventually, what you really want to get to is being a part of that small group of big league coaches who are able to coach very talented young players, anywhere from 21 to, I mean, obviously all the way up to 35, but a lot of these are young players that are getting to the big leagues really fast who are super talented, but now just need some guidance to bring out the best of them and pitch to the highest level of their ability. With just a little bit of help, and a little bit of wisdom and a little bit of experience. So, for me, when I stepped away, it was for family reasons. It really was. My son was, turning 11, going on 12, and he just needed his dad at home a little bit more at that particular time. My family has sacrificed so much for me over the years with my coaching career and standing behind me and being away from home that at that point it was just time for me to uh, you know take a step back. I've been in the game for 25 plus years. Like I said, I have a passion for it. It's something that I grew up doing. It's something at a very young age when I got drafted, I started playing and had learned a lot of life lessons through and have learned a lot of knowledge from really good coaches that I've had throughout my playing career. And I just wanted to pass that along to, the next generation coming into the big leagues and trying to get them to be the best version of themselves that they can. So, just moving on after being away for 2 years, I stayed in the game with 12 and 13-year olds and teaching the fundamentals and the pitching and all of that. I also helped some college guys along the way that, were referred in the area to help them, learn the delivery and move and be more athletic and things like that. As you start working with these guys and maybe you start working with some of the older guys, you get those juices flowing again. You get that passion back after stepping away, and that's what I felt. But with that being said, you know, down from a pretty good position with the Milwaukee Brewers after the 21 season. We had made the playoffs 3 years in a row, 19, 20, 21. We had really good players. The bullpen was fantastic. Josh Hader, Devin Williams, Brent Suter. Obviously the starters that we had with Freddie Peralta, Woody Woodruff, and Corbin Burns. There was a foundation set there with players that were there to compete and win. And when you get a taste of that, and you know what it's like to win. Um, you know, it gets you excited, and that's what I felt like. This was the right opportunity. It was the right conversation. It was out west. It was close to home. It keeps the family close, and um, you have a front office and an owner that's committed to winning, and they add players, and that's what you ask for as a coach. The coaching staff is tremendous. It has a ton of baseball experience, and I believe that after speaking with them, they use their baseball experience, but they also use the analytic portion as a tool to enhance what they know as a baseball person. And that's exciting for me to be a part of. Is you 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 get this group of passion filled guys who want to win, who want to connect, who want to make players better. And then you have a talented roster, right? The offensive side of the ball is really good. And now, the run prevention portion of it, is our job now to be able to get the opposing team to score as least runs as possible and give us a chance to win. And that would be no matter who I was with, whether it was with the Brewers or with the Angels or any other team out there. But you want to feel like you can make a difference, and I think that was the biggest thing. Is I feel I can make a difference, being in the bullpen and helping these young men out. And it's a challenge. I'm always up for challenges. It's a passion, and I love what I do. And everything just aligned really well for me, and it was an opportunity that I couldn't pass up that I'm super excited for.
And this will be a similar role to the Milwaukee role when you were there for the 3 years, the three
Yeah,
seasons.
absolutely. Exactly the same role that I was doing in Milwaukee will be just with the Los Angeles Angels.
And the coaching staff is not done yet, but and you correct me if I'm wrong, I had to go to a few different sources to figure out the tree of this coaching staff, starting and ending with Ron Washington, obviously, pitching coach Barry Onright. Then you have Johnny Washington, no relation apparently to Ron. Tim Laker, Jerry Naron, Bo Porter, Eric Young Sr., Ryan Goins, Benji Gill, Phil Plantier. Don't know if all are back or not yet, but there's a ton of baseball experience in that room. It's gonna be a lot of fun sitting with those coaching staff and making the plans. I'm gonna guess.
Well, that's the best part of it, right? Is you get to sit there and pick the brains of these guys who've been in the game and have done so much. I mean, obviously, uh, you know, Wash's experience is, over the moon, right? Like he's been everywhere. He's done everything. He's managed. He's been the third base coach. He does infield. Probably the best or one of the best infield instructors and all of baseball throughout his years. I mean, obviously, you see what he's done in Atlanta, working with Albies and Dansby Swanson and Arcia and Riley and obviously Freddie Freeman when he was there, and now Olson. So these guys, that just doesn't happen by chance. They're good baseball people. Bob Porter was in the front office with a little bit. He's coached, so he's got the pedigree there. So this for me is, being like a kid in the candy store. You get to, ask questions and talk and connect with them and learn and continue to learn. And I've always said this with you and with everybody else. There's You go to a baseball field and you learn something new every day. Like you come away walking away from a clubhouse or a field, and you see something new or you learn something new, and you continue to learn, and that's how you get better and you be the best version of yourself that you can.
I'm gonna guess based on the alignment and responsibilities. I would presume your closest relationship will be with Barry Onright and with Ron Washington, correct? As far as the most you
I
connect with.
mean,
Yeah.
well, yeah, of course. I think there's a collaboration with everybody. I think there's one of those things where, in my opinion, I always go to the hitting guys. I want to know what the hitting guys know about the opposing hitters so I can kind of look and see on video if it matches up as well as they see what they see with their own eyes. That's the experience, right? Like I'd be a fool not to ask our hitting guys about other guys and what they think their weaknesses are. And that changes, right? I mean, when you put scouting reports together and you do things, you know, the guy who he is in April may not be the same guy in August when you're facing him. Though if he's hot, not hot, if he's struggling with breaking balls, he's struggling with high fastballs. You just don't know, and that's the length of the season that kind of takes into account with why you continuing to put scouting reports together over a course of a year, and you just don't count on one at a particular time. So, yeah, of course, Barry and I are going to have to work hand in hand with what we got. We have a whole new staff that we need to learn, and we're going to have to lean on each other, and that's the fun part of it. That's the challenging part of it, and that's kind of why you do this is, we're inheriting a lot of talented young arms. Now it's our job to get them to be the best that they can be for a full 162 games.
And I'm going to take a wild guess here, but based on the conversations, based on, following the team, obviously, based on your style, your preferences, is this a team that's going to be a good mix of old school scouting with analytics? Is this, or mainly analytics, more scouting? Where do you see it going?
Well, that's a great question, right? I mean, I've had, very limited interaction with, the guys and the players and the coaching staff, just newly hired. So I'm digging into video. I'm digging into a whole bunch of stuff to start learning the guys and understanding them. So at the end of the day, that's to be determined. Once we get into spring training and we sit down and we have long conversations and we kind of get to know each other a little bit better. That'll play out.
As we finish off today's chapter, and again, we're going to say congratulations to Big Money Grip, our man here, the man on the shirt. It's Steve Karsay, and he is now the bullpen coach for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. That's what they still go by, correct?
That's correct. That's
it's a mouthful. But we'll look forward to seeing that jersey. You don't know the jersey number yet. I presume you're going to find that out in spring training.
Yeah, listen,
whatever's available.
Everything is brand new, right? Like it's fresh and it's exciting, but there's a lot of work to be had and a lot of work to do, and I think we're all ready for it.
Fans, send in your questions. Say your congratulations to Steve. What questions baseball wise do you have for Steve Karsay? And Steve, as we finish off today's chapter, I'm going to finish off with one simple question, I guess, or not so simple. In accepting this role and looking ahead now to 2024 season, if you had to summarize your goals personally as the coach and your goals for the team up ahead, where do you see things going?
Well, I mean, obviously, once we get to know the players and get to know the direction of, what Wash is wanting to do and how he wants to, attack it and get into spring training, that will be determined. But obviously, the goal is to get the players better. You get the players better, they're going to compete. They put them in the right position to succeed, and build relationships. It's all about connecting with the players. It's communication. It's building a foundation. It's collaborating with the players. It's their career, and it's getting to know them. So, again, those are some tough questions right out of the gate.
I never said I'm gonna be easy on you.
But at the end of the day, it's to improve the pitching staff from where they were last year and just be a part of their success moving forward.
I can tell you, folks, August 22nd to 25th, I have marked down on my calendar. That is when the Angels visit Toronto. I told you to come back to Toronto. So we will see you there for a steak dinner. And I'm going to watch as many Angels games as I can. And I will channel positivity because it is playoffs, playoffs, playoffs. And that's what we're going to shoot towards always. That's always the goal in life and development of young players. And it's going to be really exciting. And Steve, you have forgotten more about baseball than any of us will ever know, really. So it's so glad to see that you're going to bring your wisdom to this staff, and it's going to be great. And this is, again, why you wanted to call this the chosen journey, because you never know where the journey is going to be.
That's right. It is a journey, and it's a new path that I'm going down, one that I'm excited for. And we'll continue to walk slowly down that path and see where things end up.
Sneak peek to next week's chapter, folks. We're going to be grilling Steve a little more, and we're going to ask him a very important question as far as his decision-making process and what the life of a bullpen coach looks like. So stay tuned for next week. He's Steve Karsay. I'm Jonathan A. Cohen, and this is The Chosen Journey.